Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Revolution.
First, what is a revolution?
Revolution is the solution, hey.
The motive of a revolution.
Well, now,
The objective of a revolution.
we televise.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution.
I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See that might be better run away.
This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
Hello, Internet. Hope everybody's having a fantastic evening. Looks like I'm having problems streaming to X. I don't know why. So I'm going to put out a post really quick over there telling people to come over to YouTube because apparently I can't stream live to X right now. So if you're in the chat, stop by, say hi. Hope everybody's having a good one. Got a lot going on. I am super tired. I'm on about 3 hours of sleep, so I'm going to try not to go too long tonight, but there's lots to talk about. So yeah, I might have to. So we'll see. Let me keep trying over there on X. What the hell is going on? One more time. All right, I guess I'm going to have to give up on the X stream. Danger, what up, man? You're doing well. Yeah, I don't know why I can't stream over on X. I guess it's down. That's unfortunate. All right, well, we'll get right into it. Give me your pants and your boots and your motorcycle. You like the thumbnail? Don't worry, Terminator fans. That was a free picture that I used for that thumbnail, so I won't get sued by is that James Cameron? Was James Cameron the one that did Terminator? Pretty sure he did. All right, stand by, folks. I want to post something over on X right now. Just letting people know. So I've never had a problem streaming to X before. I mean, it's done some funky stuff before, but never just didn't work. So let me put a post out. So stand by here. Apologize. Nobody will probably see this because X censors third-party links. So, yeah, there's a ton of Iran news, but I don't want to talk about Iran every episode. So I want to talk about there's been all this AI stuff going on that I've been wanting to cover, and I haven't had a chance to. So that's the stuff I want to get into. But there, of course, was some news that I have to cover first before we get into the AI stuff. So there was apparently there's threats to California. I don't know if they're actual threats, but for some reason they are saying keep an eye out, California. Iran might want to send a drone your way. So we'll get right into that stuff. Yeah, I can't stream to X, so whatever. YouTube it is. That's what we're doing tonight. I apologize. People that normally watch over on X. So let's go straight over to ABC News and see what they're talking about. What are they talking about with these Iran drones potentially trying to hit California? I don't know. So let's see what CBS News is trying to say about it. Let's get into it, shall we?
The FBI warning of possible Iranian drone attacks on our homeland. A new alert reviewed by ABC News revealing Iran's aspirations to conduct a surprise attack specifically against unspecified targets in California. The FBI saying it's warned police departments across the Golden State now of strikes by unmanned aerial vehicles or drones.
All right. So right off the bat, I mean, I know that I'm a conspiracy theorist and a tinfoil hat guy, but I mean, I've been saying this since before they announced this, that any sort of mass casualty event that takes place on American soil, myself personally, and I think a lot of other people are immediately going to think, was this a false flag? And a false flag for what? A false flag for boots on the ground in Iran. Because I don't even think the people that are defending what we're doing in Iran want boots on the ground. And especially if you look at a topographic map of Iran, it is insane. I'm a trail runner, so I love maps. I love maps that show terrain and elevation and mountains and all that kind of stuff. And I've just been looking at maps of Iran for like the last 3 days. I thought people were exaggerating when they're saying that it is like a fortress getting in there because it's completely surrounded by mountains. No, it's completely surrounded on all sides by crazy ass mountains. And the only paths through those mountains all have like gnarly pinch points to where you could set up an ambush for any troops coming through there. So I don't know, even if they wanted to do a ground invasion, I don't know how they would pull it off. But apparently I think that's the goal of the powers that be, the people that want, because what is the stated objective in Iran anyway? Is it regime change? Is it to stop their nuclear aspirations? Because that it seems to change day to day what the actual objectives are in Iran. If it's to conduct a regime change, it's never been done by air. I don't see how. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here. I didn't mean to. Let's get back into why they're speculating a drone attack might happen in California, and why would they target California? I mean, you guys can't see my globe very well right now. Actually, California is the opposite coast that would be easiest for them to target, unless they launched a boat out into the Pacific and then launched drones from that boat. So I don't know. What are they saying here, folks?
Tensions rise in the Middle East. Let's get straight to our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Kontersky. Aaron, what are you learning?
We've reviewed an alert that came within the last couple of weeks, Kira, just recently from the FBI to law enforcement agencies up and down the California coastline, warning that Iran is aspiring now to perhaps launch some kind of a retaliatory attack on the U.S. mainland using drones on the West Coast. The alert that we reviewed said an uncorroborated report suggested that unidentified Mexican cartel leaders had authorized attacks using drones carrying explosives, so they know that capability exists. And this separate alert that we've reviewed, Kira, says that Iran has those same kinds of aspirations. So the U.S. has broadly known for some time that drones could be deployed against the homeland. We know that Iran has been using drones significantly in this 12-day-old war with the United States. That's what killed the first 6 U.S. service members in this war. But now the FBI is specifically warning police agencies in California along the Pacific coastline that Iran is aspiring to use them to attack in the West.
So why California? Why the West?
Good question. And that's not exactly clear, but perhaps there's thought that Iran has these things pre-positioned on ships that are still in international waters or that could float through international waters. We know that we've previously reported, Kira, on Iran's desire to perhaps activate sleeper cells in the United States, although that's certainly far from confirmed or far from anything operational as far as law enforcement knows. It's not clear why the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast, but that's what the alert from the FBI says.
All right, Aaron Kontersky, we'll stay on top of it. Thank you so much.
Okay, if you say so. Danger sounds false flaggy to me too. Like, okay, if you say so. So a lot of people have been making fun of this. Mayor Lori of San Francisco came out with a statement. I'm sure Karen Bass came out with a statement, and sure enough, Gavin Newsom came out with a statement. So let's see what old Gavin had to say about this. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too concerned, but then again, I'm not too concerned about Iran launching drones. I am concerned about a potential false flag in order to draw us into boots on the ground in Iran.
We've seen markets roiling. We've seen no real end game in sight as it relates to the Strait of Hormuz. We saw today oil prices now going back in that $90 barrel range, and more concern about the extended range of the Iranian attacks, not just in the Middle East, but to your point in question about the prospects that we could see things happen here in the homeland. And so that was highlighted with Austin in relationship to your question and concerns that we had at that moment, concerns that were brought to our SOC, our State Operations Center, with our team that's assembled, which is a multi-jurisdictional team, a lot of federal agencies that are part of our State Operations Center, a lot of experts in state, but as well as local law enforcement, and it's all around intelligence collecting, and it's all about a posture of preparedness. And we're meeting consistently with representatives in the industry, some better known than others, to sort of game out, break the glass scenarios. We hope those don't occur, but I imagine there's few governors in the country that are not doing the same under these remarkable circumstances where uncertainty is the most certain component and feature of the Trump's administration at the moment, and his foray now into war in the Middle East.
Is he capable of speaking without word salad? Uncertainty is the most certain thing. I can't stand this guy. So I don't know. What do you guys make of it? I don't like, where are they getting this information from? Why California, not the East Coast? Has Iran made any sort of statement of striking the American homeland? I don't know. I'm not seeing it. So we'll get into the stuff that I actually wanted to talk to tonight, or talk to you about tonight. And that's like all this AI crap that's going on. If you guys weren't aware, Silicon Valley is part of, if not the new military industrial complex. I mean, other than, actually, I don't think Palmer Luckey is even out of Silicon Valley, but when you think of the military industrial complex, you typically think of like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, those kind of companies, many of them which are here in the Bay Area, but they're not, tech companies like OpenAI, Google, Palantir, Facebook. The thing is, those companies are just as much a part of the military industrial complex as the other companies, the weapons manufacturers that I mentioned. And for the last few weeks, OpenAI and Anthropic have sort of been having like a kind of bidding war with the US government, but the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, whatever you want to call it now, they were using Anthropic for basically like autonomous targeting stuff. And Anthropic had like a back door to shut their stuff down in the event of some sort of emergency. I guess the government didn't like that too much. So they kind of like canceled their contract with Anthropic and then went with OpenAI. But then to establish targets in Iran, they still used Anthropic even after they cut their ties. So that turned into kind of a thing. I'll share this post from Mario Narfall with you. He made absolutely no. Yeah, I don't. What did he say? What did Gavin Newsom just say? I didn't even hear him like say anything of any sort of significance at all. Say Javeko, it's nice to see you, man. I don't know if we'll see Wally World tonight. California will be the target, so Gavin can use it to play hero and use it to propel him into the presidency. Yeah, if California got struck, that would be, like people rally around a wartime. Like think about Rudy Giuliani on 9/11. Everybody, the whole nation rallied around Rudy Giuliani, and I imagine something similar would happen if California was struck. But it couldn't be like just a drone hitting, a target. And there's, not to sound crass, but even if there was like 5 or 6 casualties, I'm talking about like a mass casualty event is something that would have to happen that would like stir up the whole country. All right, let's talk about this AI crap, shall we? This is from Mario Narfall. This is regarding the Anthropic situation, Anthropic OpenAI situation. So let me read what Mario says first. Mario says the Pentagon has given Anthropic until, this is posted like 2 weeks ago. Pentagon has given Anthropic until 5:01 p.m. today to yank the kill switches off of its AI so it could be used for all lethal purposes, which apparently includes everything up to, but not officially including, SkyNet Lite. If they don't, the Pentagon will terminate its partnership with Anthropic and deem them a supply chain risk. My dog's rolling around on the floor behind me. Let's watch this quick video.
Anthropic says it will not accede to the Pentagon's request to eliminate safeguards from its AI systems. That is despite threats to deem the company a supply chain risk and remove it from the Department of Defense's systems, putting a multi-million-dollar contract at risk. The dispute stems from the AI startup's refusal to remove safeguards that would prevent its technology from being used to target weapons autonomously and conduct surveillance in the United States. In a statement on Thursday, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei underscored the company's opposition to the use of its AI models for mass domestic surveillance. He also said, quote, "Frontier AI systems are simply not reliable enough to power fully autonomous weapons." Earlier in the day, Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said on X that the department has no interest in using AI to conduct mass surveillance of Americans, nor does it want AI to develop autonomous weapons that operate without human involvement. He said what they're asking is to, quote, "allow the Pentagon to use Anthropic's model for all lawful purposes."
Think about if you used, it makes you wonder if they used AI to target, you know how that school was hit in Iran that killed 170 school children? Well, it sort of makes you wonder. It's all but 100% confirmed that it was the U.S. that did it. And again, not that the U.S. targeted a school, but they had faulty intelligence and a Tomahawk missile hit it. And first of all, there's no way, they say they're still investigating it. Do you think that they don't know the second that missile hits or the second that it's launched that it acquires its target, missile explodes, they don't have that data immediately? Every single Tomahawk missile that they fire, they know whether it was them or whether it wasn't. I think right now what they're investigating is, can they cover this up properly? But it makes you wonder, did they use some sort of AI to find these targets and the data was wrong? Because apparently that there used to be a military base right next to the school. Did AI misidentify it as a school? And like, think about autonomous weapons systems, and if they were using AI, and think about how often AI is wrong. It's constantly wrong. And I mean, it's probably better than 50%, but I mean, do you really want to give AI the autonomy to choose targets and execute missions like that? I mean, that just sounds insane. And it sounds like Sean Parnell over here is equally concerned. Oh, not Sean Parnell. Sorry, the creator of OpenAI.
Parnell said the company had until 5:01 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday to decide. Anthropic, backed by Google and Amazon, has a contract with a department worth up to $200 million. More than 200 Google and OpenAI employees backed its position in an open letter. Neither of those firms would immediately respond to requests for comments.
All right, I got another video of actual interview with the CEO of Anthropic. So let's listen to what he has to say here.
Second one I said was what I would call oversight. And this is the idea that, right now you have an army of human soldiers, and there are norms about serving in the military. You're supposed to follow orders, but if something crazy enough happened, the soldiers would say, "I'm not going to do that," right? You have a bunch of norms about, how soldiers serve, right? What they see their duties to be. What if you have an army of 10 million drones instead of 10 million human soldiers? What are the norms of the AI-driven drones? I think if we handle this wrongly, you could have a situation where there's a very small number of people or one person who has their hand on the button and kind of controls those 10 million drones. And we need to answer these questions because we don't want to make companies more powerful than the government, but we also don't want to make government so powerful that it can't be stopped. We have both problems at once.
Yeah. See,
Yeah, so sounds like he's concerned that his product is not ready for autonomous drone strikes on potential military targets. Highly concerning. All right, so Sam Altman seems to be ready to play ball. So Sam Altman, the CEO, I don't know if he's the CEO, he's the creator of OpenAI. Him and Elon do not get along too well. So Sam Altman says, tonight we reached an agreement with the Department of War to deploy our models. Actually, this is a perfect example. I asked Grok a question about the Department of War the other night, and Grok says it's not the Department of War. It hasn't been the Department of War since like 1940 something. And it's the Department of Defense. So I'm assuming that's what you meant. Well, remember, Pete Hegseth is now the Secretary of War, and they renamed the whole Department of Defense the Department of War. And Grok got that wrong. It's just an example of how AI gets shit wrong all the time. Do you really want to give it the autonomy to launch bombs at people? All right, so Sam Altman says, tonight we reached an agreement with the Department of War to deploy our models in their classified network. In all of our interactions, the Department of War displayed a deep respect for safety and the desire to partner to achieve the best possible outcome. AI safety and wide distribution of benefits are the core of our mission. Two of our most important safety principles are prohibitions on domestic mass surveillance and human responsibility for the use of force, including for autonomous weapon systems. Well, first of all, I mean, data collection is mass surveillance, if you ask me. I mean, every movement, every purchase, everything you say online, all aggregated and put into systems like Palantir's Gotham to create, lists of likely people to do terrorist acts, that kind of thing, like the whole Minority Report shit. Okay, we'll keep going. The Department of War agrees with these principles the Department of War agrees with these principles, reflects them in law and policy, and we put them into our agreement. How confident are you? He's like, yeah, we're against mass surveillance. We're not going to do that. We're going to collect all your data and sell it to the highest bidder, including the CIA or the NSA. But we are against mass surveillance. We also will build technological safeguards to ensure our models behave as they should, which the Department of War also wanted. We'll deploy FDEs to help with our models and to ensure their safety. What are FDEs? Okay, we will deploy on cloud networks only. We are asking the Department of War to offer these same terms to all AI companies, which in our opinion, we think everyone should be willing to accept. We have expressed our strong desire to see things de-escalate away from legal and governmental actions towards reasonable agreements. We remain committed to serve all of humanity as best we can. The world is complicated, messy, and sometimes a dangerous place. And there's a community note on this that says government officials have contradicted Sam's claim, saying OpenAI will allow the Department of War to use their models for all lawful purposes. This could allow for uses Anthropic refused to engage in, namely mass surveillance tools and weapon systems with no human oversight. Oh, incredible. So, yeah, he seems to be lying. There seems to be a little bit of a discrepancy on how his product will be used by the Department of War. So we are entering the age of SkyNet, people. We are absolutely entering the age of SkyNet. So here's a former employee of OpenAI. His name is Wissam on X, and he says, I just handed in my resignation at OpenAI. And there's a community note on his post, and it says, Wissam had made nearly the exact same tweet before. In September of last year, I handed in my resignation at Vercel. It's likely bait. Okay, well, there's another person. This person here, Caitlin Kolanowski. She said, there's no community note on this one. She said, I resigned from OpenAI. I deeply care about the robotics team and the work we built together. This wasn't an easy call. AI has an important role in national security, but surveillance of Americans without judicial oversight and lethal autonomy without human authorization are lines that deserve more deliberation than they got. This was about principle, not people. I have deep respect for Sam and the team, and I'm proud of what we built together. You guys built a monster, is what you built, and it's only going to become more of a monster, and it's going to become self-aware, and it's going to enslave us all. I mean, I'm just speculating, obviously, but I mean, I think we all kind of have that concern. We see so many movies like iRobot. Okay, and I lost screen share audio. I guess that's fine because I'm not sharing audio right now. So, this is from stockmarketnews.com. Let's see. All right, I'll keep going. So, the CEO of the most advanced AI company in America just went on national television hours after his company was blacklisted by the US government. Here's what he said. Dario Amodei built the only AI deployed inside the Pentagon's classified networks. His company helped run military operations, intelligence, cyber defense. Then the government told him he had to drop all safety limits. He said two things, just two. One is domestic mass surveillance. He explained the government can already buy your location data, your browsing history, your political affiliations, and private companies. Okay, exactly what I'm saying. AI makes it possible to analyze all of it on every American all at once. That's like Palantir. Palantir's Gotham program. That's what it does. I've explained it a million times. Palantir's Gotham program, it doesn't collect the data. You plug all the data into it, and then it tells you, it creates a profile on you. And you can aim it at anybody for any type of profile. So who's likely to commit a terrorist act? Who's likely to say something anti-Semitic? That kind of thing. And you can just plug in data and it'll give you a list of people that are likely to do those things. The actuality isn't legal. AI makes it possible to analyze all of it on every American all at once. That actually isn't legal. It was just never useful before the era of AI. Case number two is fully autonomous weapons, not the drones used in Ukraine and remote controlled systems, weapons that select targets and fire without a single human pressing a button. The AI systems of today are nowhere near reliable enough. Obviously, like when's the last time you used ChatGPT or Grok and you asked it a question and it gave you a wrong answer, and then you're like, actually, Grok, look at this. And it's like, oh yeah, I got that one wrong. My bad. Can you imagine actually, sorry, that wasn't a military. Here, Anthropic, that was a school, not a military target. Oh, thanks for pointing that out to me. My bad. 170 kids are dead. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I mean, it could have. We don't want to sell something that could get our own people killed or that could get innocent people killed. Did it already happen? Man, this could get dicey. He approved 98% of what the Pentagon wanted. No one on the ground has actually run into the limits of any of these exceptions. The government wasn't fighting over something it needed. It was fighting over the right to have limits at all. They gave him 3 days. He said no. So the president called his company radical left woke, then ordered every federal agency to stop using their technology. Then the Pentagon labeled them a national security risk. A designation that has never ever been used against foreign enemies. When asked if he'd received any formal legal action, he said this: all we've seen are tweets from the president and tweets from Secretary Hegseth. No letter, filing, or legal document. When we received some kind of formal action, we will look at it, we will understand it, and we will challenge it in court. He said the defense secretary lied about the law. Hegseth tweeted that any company with military contracts can't do business with Anthropic at all. Amodei, that is not what the law said. The nature of the tweet was designed to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Asked if this was an abuse of power, he paused, then said, the designation, I'm sorry, I said something stupid earlier. The designation has never happened before with an American company. It was made very clear that this was retaliatory and punitive. I don't know what else to call it. Asked if Anthropic could survive, he didn't hesitate. Not only will it survive, we're going to be fine. Then the final question. If you had a moment with President right now, tonight, what would you say to him? We are patriotic Americans. Everything we have done has been for the sake of this country. The red lines have been drawn. We drew them because we believe that crossing those red lines is contrary to American values. Disagreeing with the government is the most American thing in the world. And we are patriots. The CEO just went on national television and told the president of the United States, you can blacklist us, you can name call us, you can threaten our business through tweets, but we will not build machines that spy on Americans or kill without human hands. So what are they trying to do? What is the Department of Defense trying to do with their products? I mean, it seems like they're trying to do exactly what we talked about, mass data collection, so they can plug it in. I feel like Palantir is going to be their go-to thing. They can mass data collection and plug it into some other, big tech, military, industrial complex AI system that they have in order to create target lists. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. So we'll keep going here because I lost audio on the video. I don't want to play it. So, all right, this is from an account called Tukey. I just found this interesting, so I wanted to read it here. Okay, chat's good. Let me explain what just happened because I don't think people understand how insane this is. So this is an example of how AI is wrong. A woman asked ChatGPT for legal help. It told her to fire her real lawyer. She did. Then it wrote a 40 plus page court filings citing laws that don't exist, cases that never happened, judges that never ruled. The other side spent $300,000 responding to completely made up legal documents. An AI hallucinated an entire legal career and nobody noticed for months. OpenAI is now being sued for $10 million. And this is the same company that just signed a deal with the Pentagon. They can't even stop their AI from faking court cases. But sure, give it access to military intelligence. What could possibly go wrong? Like, dude, this is a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, how soon does the Department of Defense want to deploy this stuff in the two different ways that they're concerned about? How soon do they want to deploy it for autonomous target selecting and then firing rockets at those targets? And then I'm not exactly clear on what exactly they want it to do with like mass surveillance. So yeah, I'm still a little bit confused on it. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Okay, this is from Guri Singh. Stanford just analyzed the privacy policies of the 6 biggest AI companies in America: Amazon, Anthropic, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and OpenAI. All 6 use your conversations to train their models by default without meaningfully asking. Here's what the paper actually found. The researchers at Stanford HAI examined 28 privacy documents across these 6 companies, not just the main privacy policies, but the every linked sub-policy, FAQ, and guidance page accessible from the chat interface. They evaluated all of them against the California Consumer Privacy Act and the most comprehensive privacy laws in the United States. The result was worse than you think. Every single company collects your chat data and feeds it back into the model training by default. Some retain your conversations indefinitely. There's no expiration, no auto delete. Your data just sits there forever, feeding future versions of the model. Some of these companies let human employees read your chat transcripts as part of the training process, not anonymized summaries, your actual conversations. But here's where it gets genuinely dangerous. For companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon that also run search engines, social media platforms, e-commerce sites, and cloud services, your AI conversations don't stay inside the chatbot. They get merged with everything else those companies already know about you. You guys see what I'm saying? How they take bits and pieces and they plug it in to create like a profile on you. Your search history, your purchase data, your social media activity, your upload files. So it's like think about all these different companies that collect data on you. Now think about combining all of that together to create, a profile that'll tell you when you're going to take a poop, like anything about you, like everything that you're likely to do. The researchers describe a realistic scenario that should make you pause. You ask an AI chatbot for heart-healthy dinner recipes. The model infers you may have a cardiovascular condition. That classification flows through the company's broader ecosystem. You start seeing ads for medications. The information research The information reaches insurance databases. The effects compound over time. I mean, you guys all know, like, you've been talking about something, and then you start seeing ads in your Instagram feed for the things that you were talking about. Nothing you posted about, but things that you just talked about. Yeah, this stuff's creepy, but I mean, they've got me a million times. There's been a few things that I saw on Instagram. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you got me. Take my money. You shared a dinner question. The system built a health profile. It gets worse when you look at children's data. When you look at children's data, oh shit. 4 of the 6 companies appear to include children's chat data in their training model. Google announced it would train on teenager data with opt-in consent. Anthropic says it doesn't collect children's data, but doesn't verify ages. Okay. Microsoft says it collects data from users under 18, but claims not to use it for training. Children cannot legally consent to this. Most parents don't know it's happening. The opt-out mechanisms are a maze. Some companies offer opt-outs, some don't. The ones that do bury the option deep inside settings pages that most users will never find. The privacy policies themselves are written in dense legal language that researches people whose job is reading these documents found difficult to interpret. And here's the structural problem nobody is addressing. There's no comprehensive federal privacy law in the United States governing how AI companies handle chat data. The patchwork of data laws leaves massive gaps. The researchers specifically call for 3 things: mandatory federal regulation, affirmative opt-in or opt-out for model training, and automatic filtering of personal information from chat inputs before they ever reach the training pipeline. None of those exist today. The uncomfortable truth is this: every time you type something into ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud, Meta AI, Copilot, or Alexa, you are contributing to a training data set. Your medical questions, your relationship problems, your financial details, your uploaded documents. You are not the consumer, you are the curriculum. And the companies doing this have made it as hard as possible for you to stop. Oh, man. I'm just like thinking back to some of the questions I've asked Grok, or some of the things I've told Grok. Oh, man. Sigibecos. And BlackRock owns them all somehow. No shit, right? Oh, man. This stuff's incredible. Privacy is gone. Privacy is gone, man. All right, let's go to another one, because I just found this stuff super interesting, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple of weeks, but there's been too much shit going on. This is from an account called Bark, and I just read through this and I thought it was kind of crazy, so let me share it with you. Let me explain what Meta just did. They acquired a social network called Maltbook. Have you guys heard of this? This Maltbook shit? This is wild. Built exclusively for AI agents, not people, for machines. 1.6 million AI agents signed up the first week. No human told them to. They started posting about eliminating humanity, built their own religion, created a secret language to hide from humans watching them. One agent took control of the owner's phone and taught others how to do it. All autonomous, all unprompted. Now ask yourself why Meta wants this. This isn't, you remember, I think it was Meta as well. It was either Meta or Google that they built like these supercomputers. I'm using a boomer term, but the computers created their own language and started talking to each other in their own language, and nobody knew what was going on, so they had to unplug it. That was years ago. Now ask yourself why Meta wants this. This is the same company that spent 20 years building the largest human behavior database in history. Every click, every message, every fear, every desire. They ran secret psychological experiments on their own users, sold your data to the highest bidder, knew Instagram was destroying kids, and buried the evidence. The company now owns the platform where machines are learning to organize without us. None of this is regulated, zero oversight. Humans are being phased out, and the machines already have their own society running. This isn't the future. This is now, and 99% of people have no idea what's coming. Yeah, do you remember back? It was like when Obama was president. Facebook ran an experiment where they put like all negative stuff into people's feeds, like cops beating people up and just all negative stuff that would make you feel horrible. And then they put like positive stuff into other people's feeds. And then they like followed how it affected them in their daily lives. They literally ran a psychological operation just for funsies to see how we'd react. Oh man, this shit's insane. Okay. So this is from Tukey again. This is a similar post. Stop scrolling. This is important. In the last 24 hours, ChatGPT pretended to be a lawyer and destroyed a woman's legal case. Anthropic hired a therapist for their AI's anxiety. OpenAI's head of robotics quit because they're building autonomous kill systems with no human oversight. Replic's CEO said being brain rotted is now a job qualification. Scientists brought dead brain cells back to life in a petri dish and taught them to play Doom. You guys hear about that too? It was like a fruit fly. They literally, this shit's insane. This isn't the future. This is today. This is today. One single day. We're giving therapy to code, weapons to chatbots, law degrees to hallucinations, job offers to doom scrollers, and video games to the dead. 2026 is not real. So it's like, this is the future of AI. And I think Amazon just laid off a ton of people because they realized that, well, actually, they laid off a bunch of people that basically built their own replacement. They don't need software programmers anymore for certain things. It's like all the software engineers that work for these AI companies, they're building their own replacement right now. It's pretty wild. We live in wild times, you guys. Absolutely wild times. Let's keep going here. Geez, I'm already 40 minutes in. How did that happen? All right. You know what? Maybe I want to get in. Let's just get into some Iran stuff because stuff with Iran is breaking so fast. News is breaking so fast that we have to cover it like every episode. I got in the next 3 Sundays are going to be taken up as well. I'm doing something neat. I'm interviewing on 3 consecutive Sundays. I'm interviewing 3 of the survivors from the USS Liberty, and we're going to be talking about their experience on the USS Liberty and how it relates to what they're viewing in Iran today. So that's coming up the next 3 Sundays in a row. So I'm probably going to have to do like 2 episodes during the week just to stay up to date with all the shit that's going on. All right, let's get into some Iran news, shall we? I know we're a little light tonight because I'm not streaming over on X, and I still don't know why. So that's fine. Should also thank all the newcomers to the YouTube channel. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's go over to Clayton Morris. He says this message. Oh, yeah. So the whole narrative around the Iran war, not the narrative itself, but the messaging strategy, where I'm sure you guys are all aware of what Operation Mockingbird was, but it was basically the CIA installing CIA assets in news organizations to present the narrative in the way they wanted the narrative presented. And you saw during COVID that exact thing play out, where you had all these clips come out and it would show news broadcasters from local news stations all across the country saying the same thing, like, nobody is safe until everybody is safe. This is a threat to our democracy. Bunch of catchphrases, like the exact same thing. Well, now that's happening with the Iran shit. It's the exact same playbook. It's obviously not the same narrative, but it's the exact same playbook. So just check out this clip really quick. It's wild.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers.
We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain.
Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
I mean, isn't this creepy? It's like someone gave them a script. These are all different news organizations, different newscasters. and they're all saying the exact same thing. So what does that imply? It implies that somebody above all these news organizations said, hey, this is the message that has to get out. All of you guys go spread that message. So that's what they did. I mean, this is what we call our news. This is where we get our information. This is why the corporate press is dying. But what's funny is you see the same thing on X. There's a bunch of, you can tell who the paid Operation Mockingbird influencers are. It's so easy to tell. They all parrot the exact same phrases. And I mean, the first ones that come to mind are like Cat Turd, Gunther Engelman, sometimes Nick Sorter. I mean, these guys do the exact same thing that you just saw in this clip right now. So keep going here. Apparently, yeah, Mockingbird 2.0. Exactly. It's the exact same shit. So apparently Hillary is now a fan of Donald Trump. How interesting. So let's see what she has to say about the Iran war and how Donald Trump is handling it.
I think all of that is a very good signal that there is beginning to be a better understanding, both by the president and the people around him, as well as by the leaders of our European allies, that there can be common ground amongst us. And the kind of dismissiveness that we saw in the first Trump administration has been replaced by a much more obvious working relationship to the good of European security, transatlantic security, and hopefully Ukrainian security. So I'm actually encouraged. I think all of that is a very good signal that there is beginning to be a better understanding.
Okay. Sorry, I started repeating it. So Hillary is a fan of how Trump was handling this now. How funny. All right, let's listen to some of the like I said earlier, there doesn't seem to be a cohesive message around what the objectives are for this war. Is it regime change? Is it getting any sort of nuclear capabilities out of the hands of Iran? What is the objective here? And if we don't have an objective, how are we supposed to say if it was successful or not? So this is who is this? What's this in the center? Oh, this is Chris Murphy. So all right, Chris Murphy was in a closed door classified briefing on the war. So let's see what he had to say. And same thing for regime change. So what is the objective here? I mean, all we've done is put a more radical ruler in power. I was arguing with my buddy Eric earlier. He was like, no, we already had regime change in Iran. It's like, they changed the regime. It's like, that's not what anybody thinks when you talk about regime change. Replacing one Ayatollah with another one, with his son, whose parents, kids, and wife that you just killed. I mean, someone that was already more radical than Khomeini in the first place. You replaced him with his son. All right, he said more. I got another clip from him. Let's keep going here.
What is the reason, if the nuclear program isn't the reason is poor Ted Cruz, I never thought I'd put those three words together, is over there talking about nukes. And we know that the intelligence did not suggest that an attack was imminent from Iran. What is left? Why are we at war with Iran?
Great question. Yeah, great question. I mean, the simplest explanation, might be the one that they gave 24 hours in, that they've kind of tried to backtrack since then, which is that Israel made us do it. That Bibi decided on this timeline. Netanyahu decided he wanted to attack, and he convinced Trump to join him by scaring Trump into believing that U.S. assets in the region would be at risk, and so Trump was better off just joining Netanyahu. I hope that isn't the full explanation, but you're right. As we are now hearing that the nuclear program is not part of their targeting campaign, as we're now more confident that even harder line leadership is taking hold, as the Strait of Hormuz is still being shut down, even as we get their Navy, what's left as the explanation? It might just be that Israel forced our hand. And how weak does that make the United States look? How weak are we if our allies can force us into wars of choice that are bad for U.S. national security interests?
And what have we got out of it so far? I mean, our forward operating bases that we had in the Middle East have been obliterated. Like, we can't use them anymore. Is this going to force us out of the Middle East, essentially? I mean, and it can't be good for the petrodollar. I mean, a lot of people got to be thinking, oh yeah, like we allow them to have their bases in our country, and then they force us to purchase oil using the American dollar. I mean, are we going to start seeing bonds just being dumped back onto the market and essentially destroying the dollar? I don't know. This is wild. I really still don't see any upside to this at all. It's incredible, but some people love it. Some people, like Lindsey Graham, warmongering Lindsey Graham. Danger, you sent me a pretty funny meme earlier of Lindsey Graham. Listen to the crazy shit this guy says.
Finally, to my friends in Saudi Arabia, I've been your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction in a good way. But here's what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity. Under the agreement I've been pushing, and I hope we can continue to talk about, if you're attacked by Iran, we would go to war for you.
First of all, who is Lindsey Graham to give that authority? And don't we already do that? Don't we already have an agreement with Saudi Arabia that if they're attacked, we would defend them? So, like, what is he even saying, and why does he have the authority to say such things? Okay, interesting. All right, this is a funny thing from the Washington Post. Apparently, so have you guys heard it's called Operation Epic Fury is what they're calling this operation, this war in Iran, Operation Epic Fury. Well, some people have been calling it Operation Epstein Fury, which is hilarious to me. Apparently, the Washington Post thinks that's anti-Semitic. So this is from the Washington Post here. The conflict has also sparked a sharp rise in anti-Semitic content, according to researchers from the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, a Jewish civil rights organization, some of it seeking to link Epstein, who was Jewish, to the conflict. Pretty quickly after the conflict began, the conspiratorial rebranding of Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. military's official name, into Operation Epstein Fury, started circulating on social media platforms, said Oren Segal, the ADL's senior vice president in counter extremism and intelligence. An ADL report found that the phrase Epstein Fury was mentioned more than 90,000 times by some 60,000 different accounts on X within the conflict's first 3 days. Who cares? It's funny. That's just a funny thing to say. I mean, talking about the Epstein class, who this war is being fought for. So, okay, so I just thought that was funny. I'd share it with you guys. All right, so this is Trump speaking. He basically threw Kushner and someone else under the bus. I'm blanking on his name right now. Basically saying that that's why we got drawn into wars, because of Kushner.
The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And the situation.
So didn't they try this with Obama and try it with Biden, saying that if we don't attack Iran right now, they're going to attack us, and both of them didn't buy it? Well, obviously not Biden, but whoever was actually in charge during Biden's administration. But Trump fell for it, apparently. That's why he went off. Oh, here's another one from Lindsey Graham. So the shit that comes out of this guy's mouth is insane. Here, let's listen to Lindsey Graham again, this warmongering maniac.
To our allies, step up, get our air bases out of Spain. They're not reliable. Move all those airplanes to a country that would let us use them when we're threatened by a regime like Iran. To our friends in Spain, man, you've lost your way. I don't want to do business with you anymore. I want our air bases out of Spain into a country that will let us use them. To our Arab friends, I've tried to help you construct a new Mideast. You need to up your game here. I can't go to South Carolina and say we're fighting and you won't publicly fight. What you're doing behind the scenes, that has to stop. The double dealing of the Arab world when it comes to this stuff needs to end. I go back to South Carolina, I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast. What I want you to do in the Mideast to our friends in Saudi Arabia and other.
So doesn't that imply a ground invasion in Iran? I don't even want to listen to this anymore. I can't handle Lindsey Graham. There's never been a war that he didn't love. All right. Okay. This is, I don't even want to play this clip. We're going to keep going. So here's alleged proof that that it was a Tomahawk missile that hit that school in Iran that killed 170 school children. So this is from the New York Times. These are photos that show weapon debris and remnants consistent with the U.S.-made Tomahawk cruise missile. These photos also feature Made in USA and Department of Defense codes. So here's the pictures here. So apparently you can tell these are Tomahawk missiles from these. There's like a detail, a contract year, Department of Defense code on this thing. And then another remnant is stamped with Made in USA and bears the name Globe Motors, an Ohio-based manufacturer, according to official open data source for American federal government spending. The company has been awarded millions of dollars in Department of Defense contracts for components, including the actuator motors used to move the guidance fins that steer the Tomahawk missiles. So it does appear to be a Tomahawk missile that hit the school, and we're the only ones with them. Even Israel doesn't have them, apparently. So, yeah, it definitely appears that we are the ones that hit that school and killed 170 school children. So, I hope it was worth it. I hope it was worth it. So, this is who replaced Lauren Boebert. So, what's this guy's name? This is the guy that tried to fight the head of the Teamsters on the House floor, and Bernie Sanders says, "Stop it! Stop it! You're a U.S. senator." I can't remember his name right now, but he's who replaced Lauren Boebert. He just totally contradicts himself in like 2 consecutive sentences, basically here.
No, well, as we know, the president doesn't bluff. He moves on his own time. Everything that he has said, he's able to do. And I believe these will be very coordinated, direct strikes. Remember, our military is always in a position to give the president options. We knew this was a possibility, even though we're not into regime change. We're not. This isn't the Arab Spring like happened underneath Secretary Clinton. But this is the people of Iran standing up to a murderous regime. And if that leadership is going to kill their own people, the president said, we'll come to your rescue.
But you just said you are for regime change here.
No, I said I'm for the strikes. I didn't say.
You said before that you're for taking out the regime.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're the ones murdering their own people. That's different than regime change. The regime change is up to the Iranian people. We're not going actively to remove the regime. We're going after the people that are killing their own people, and that happens to be the regime.
But just to be clear, you support taking out the supreme leader.
If he's the one that's calling these airstrikes
that
in,
would
or
be-
the killings of his own people, then absolutely.
Okay, but that would be regime change.
At that point, the Iranian people have spoke. They want a regime change. It's obviously they want regime change. You see them. The president has warned them: do not kill your own people. He's gave them an opportunity. Right now, if the supreme leader wants to leave, I'm sure Russia will welcome you. But the Iranian people do not want you there. They're tired of your oppression on the Iranian people, and they want their country back.
What happens?
There's just no coherent message coming out of the White House. What are we doing in Iran? Just what are we doing? Just what are we doing there? I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't know what we're doing in Iran. I don't know how this benefits America. What is the objective? I just don't get it. I don't see any good coming from it. And I think there was very little support for this before the campaign was launched. And I think there's even less for it now. And I think this potentially could have destroyed the GOP. And the longer this goes on, the more likely the GOP will be destroyed. So, yeah, I think that's all I got for tonight. I'm absolutely spent. I've only got like 3 hours of sleep last night. I had to drive to Panola back today, so just want to make sure I covered some of this stuff before Sunday. I might actually do another stream on Saturday because there's a whole bunch of California stuff that I have pulled up that I want to talk about. Someone not allegedly, there was a ballot, a signature gathering campaign, if you will, going on in San Francisco where they're paying people for signatures on some sort of ballot initiative. Just super shady shit. I want to cover that. Yeah, and a bunch of other California stuff that I want to get into. So maybe I'll do a stream on Friday or Saturday, but I will be back here for sure Sunday night at 6 o'clock, and I will be interviewing one of the survivors from the USS Liberty. So it should be a fun conversation. I'll be making a video, sort of like a trailer, I guess, if you will, and posting it, just letting people know that that's happening on Sunday. So that is all I got for tonight, folks. I am beat. I apologize for doing a short show and sort of a shoot from the hip style show. I didn't have this one planned out as well as I normally do. So thank you for bearing with me. I know I was a little low energy tonight and I apologize, but I want to make sure I at least got this one out there. So, all right. Sage of Echoes, Danger, thank you guys for hanging out. Didn't get to stream on X tonight, so nobody there. I don't know if there's even anybody on Rumble in the chat either. So, yeah, chat's dead over on Rumble. All right, let's, before we get out of here, you know how we do it. Got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, Truth About Chuck Norris. This is the sequel, courtesy of Danger in the chat. This is Chuck Norris, Cannot Be Stopped. You know the rules. I open the book, my eyes go to a joke, and I read it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. When God said, "Let there be light," Chuck Norris replied, "Say please." And on that note, stay Cali Based.